Hello everyone, my name is Mert Hakan and today I will be showing you my fourth and final homework for SE 320 lecture, which is about Unity games. This homework consists of 4 different subtasks. Each of them is like a modified version of the previous task. And before we start, we need to open the moving things slide, and at the very last slide, there's a screenshot of some code. And here is the moving things slide, and this is the code. This is the code for a character controller with simple move and move methods. So task 1 requires us to create a player CS script and then implement the code in the screenshot and make it work. We also need to explain what it does, and you can use very simple models, but the orientation of the model should be clear. In my case, I have a cube here named player. I don't use any tags or layers. In this case, the cube has a pinkish nose, as you can see here. This indicates forward direction, Z-axis. And here is the script. This is the script written from the slide. And the script's name is player as requested. So the script has 2 initial variables named vector3 current jump velocity and a boolean which is named isJumping. Within the update method, the character controller component is called from the character, and the initial vector3 move velocity is set to vector3.0, and the axis movements are declared here, x and z, x being the horizontal and z being the vertical. And it checks for if input.getDown button is jump, which is spacebar by default. You can also configure this from here. You come to edit and then click on project settings. Once it opens up, you see a title named input manager to the left side. Once you open it, you can see the inputs and the default inputs. If this isn't jumping, it says is jumping to true, and then you set the current jump velocity to vector3.up times 5. This time 5 indicates that it should be multiplied by 5, the movement, vertical movement. If it is jumping, the controller.move method is called, and the move method is usually called when a vertical movement is involved, like climbing a ladder or jumping or flying. It adds the current jump velocity to move velocity and multiplies with time.delta time. And after that, it applies the gravity. And then if the controller is grounded, isJumping will be set to false. And then finally, we have the else part here. It says control.simpleMove, move velocity. Simple move is basically the simple move on the ground. So let's just run this. As you can see, it's loaded. Once I press W, the cube moves forward. Once I press S, it moves backwards. If I press D, it will go to right side. If I press A, it will go to left. And if I press spacebar, it jumps. This is the simple move. And now on to the task 2. Task 2 wants us to change the code so that up walks forward, back walks backward, left makes the character turn left, and right makes the character turn right. And we need to explain our changes. All right. So first of all, I have created 2 new variables. One of them is a public float named move speed. Let's set this to 5. And then another float named rotation speed. And let's set this to 180. We come to here, this part. I'll be renaming this to move direction. And then apply the names to move velocity. So we change them. Now I'll be deleting this part. We will modify this horizontal part later. And below this vertical part, I will write the code for left and right rotations. I will write another float named rotation input. input dot get axis. And now this will be the horizontal axis. And then we will call transform dot rotate vector 3 dot up times rotation input times rotation speed times time dot delta time. It appeared, you can see it. But now we need to convert the input to workspace based on our current rotation. So I call move direction is equal to transform dot transform direction move direction. Now it's ready. We also need to modify these parts a little bit as well. We come to here, this part, move direction plus current jump velocity. And we'll also multiply this by move speed. Okay. And finally, we need to modify this else part as well. I will simply remove the simple parts from here. Multiply move direction with move speed and with time dot delta time. Okay, we save this up. We go to Unity, wait for the script to finish loading. Okay, now it's loaded, and let's run this. Okay, so as you can see that it moves back and forth, and it's much faster than before. Once I press D, it will rotate. And once I press A, it will rotate counterclockwise. And as you can see now, we can move like this. And if I press spacebar, it will jump. As you can see, it's a very high value. It's multiplied by 5. If you reduce this number, the cube will jump much shorter than before. And you can also move backwards like this. And now on to task number 3. Task number 3 requires us to create a prefab for a pickable item. We need to create multiple copies of it in the map and arrange them on the map to spell your name's first letter with them. Well, my name is Mert and my first letter is Das M. And then create a pickable script that each pickable has. Player will identify a pickable by seeing if it has a pickable script attached to it. And we do not use any other mechanisms to identify pickables. And finally, pickables will disappear when we touch them. All right, so to begin, I will be adding a 3D object. This can be anything you like. Let's add capsule. And as I say, it's up to you. So we make this is trigger, and then we add a rigid body, and we make it is kinematic. And finally, we need to add a component, a script named pickable. We create and add this. After we wait for compiling script part, I will be opening the script in the editor. Okay, now it's loading. Let's open Visual Studio Code again. . So the pickable.cs script will have a method named public void pick up item. This method will also be called from the player.cs script as well. And we will handle the destruction of the object from the player class. Now this class will only print out the first letter of my name. We save this pickable script and go back to the player script. We add an onTrigger enter method here. OnTrigger enter. Okay, it appeared. So now we will check if the touched object has the pickable script component. So we make a reference to the other class, pickable, named pickable components is equal to other dot get component pickable. It appeared, as you can see. And we check if it says a null value or not. So if pickable component is not null, we will come here and say that pickable component dot pick up item, and we call the method here, as you can see. And after calling it, we call destroy other dot game object. It appeared, as you can see. And finally, I will be printing object is destroyed to the console. Debug.log destroyed. Okay. Let's save this and go back to Unity. It's loading the script, so it will take some time. Okay, it's done. I will also be adding a text mesh component to it. Not the script, sorry. Text. We'll simply say it's M. And let's rotate this. I'm trying to fit this capsule collider in the middle of the letter itself. Okay. And let's give it a black color to make it more visible. Okay. And then I'll create a prefab of this letter. And let's create multiple copies. Are there any restrictions? No, there aren't restrictions. So in this case, I have created 4 more copies of the letter itself. So this is the first one. This is the second one. This is the third one. This is the fourth one. And this is the final letter. Let's open the console and see if it works. Okay, so we have our cube here. Let's go to the first one. As you can see, it prints out my letter, first letter of my name, and it says destroyed. Let's test it for the other ones. As you can see, the timer is updated, 55 seconds. Now it's updated again, the fourth letter and the fifth one. So it works now. And now on to the last task. Task 4 requires us to modified pickables. It says pickables give you a speed boost. When you pick a pickable, you will walk faster for 3 seconds. Now, let's open the Visual Studio again. In clear.cs script file, I will be adding more variables. One of them is a public float named speed boost. Let's set this to 5.0f. And the other one is public float boost duration. And it is requested to be 3 seconds. Now here, just below this destroyed method, I will be calling the function. The function's name will be apply speed boost. And I will be creating this function here. Private void apply speed boost. We go inside of this and we just call the start coroutine speed boost. Let's name it speed boost coroutine. Now this coroutine will be declared here. It will be using a IEnumerator type here. IEnumerator speed boost coroutine. Why am I applying this coroutine stuff? Is because I also use it in my game presentation, and I use it for countdown timers of attacks like cooldown. So I decided to use it here again. Load original speed, move speed, and then we need to apply the speed boost. So we add the value of the speed boost to the move speed. Move speed plus equals speed boost. We go down here a bit more and we wait for the specified duration, which is 3 seconds for us. You'll return new. Wait 4 seconds should come up. Yes, wait 4 seconds came up. And we enter the boost duration here. And see, we have no errors now. And finally, after the boost duration ends, we need to set the original speed as the move speed, so that it will go back to the speed value it already had before. Now, waiting for the Unity to apply the script changes. Okay, we go to clear. And as you can see that we now have the variables coming up, speed boost and boost duration. So let's now run this one. Okay, we start the move. As you can see that we are moving with 10 and see it's back to 5. We pick this up, see we go to 10 again, we move a lot faster than before and our speed gets back to 5 again. We pick this one up and we go with 10 again and now it's back to 5. We pick the fourth one and see we're moving with 10 again and it's back to 5. And now to test it with the last letter, see it's going up to 10 and now it's back to 5. And that's all. And as I do in each homework, I just created a text mesh pro object that displays my name and my student number. And finally, if this video takes a very long time, I will be adding timestamps for each task and the execution of those tasks below the video within the comments section. Thank you for watching. See you.